As we kick off a brand new season of Senior Spotlight, there's really no better person to start with. While the Sioux Falls School District class of 2019 has no shortage of incredible people, the senior you're about to meet is one of the most unforgettable. In this episode of Senior Spotlight, we travel to Washington High School, where one senior uses not only her successes and achievements, but also her very being to elevate everyone around her.
All right. Our next contestant is from Whittier Middle School.
The story of Jane Walsh is a love story.
Whittier knows how to bring it. Her name is Jane Walsh. This is
involving Jane and everyone who knows her.
This is for you guys.
This is the 2015 8th grade Poetry Slam, where Jane was Whittier Middle School's top performer.
In my mind, there are storage units packed with catalog people, and once in a while I turn on the light, its beams glimpsing the absence of dust. Sitting on cold concrete, I stretch up spider fingers for a box charged with thoughts, its latch like a drop of mercury. Atomic number 80, H.G. Huggin the box closed. I flip open the latch, the reflection of my fingers obscured by their reality. This box holds people, and these people, they're you.
Jane's gracious ode to her fellow students at Whittier was met with equal amounts of adoration.
You don't know how beautiful you all are, all of you. Do you remember the slander of language, rolling marbles in their mouth, smooth talk, smash talk? You don't want to go to Whittier in the ghetto from the get-go. You don't want to put yourself there. Well, being with you guys has been one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. You know why? Because I love you. I love you guys. All of you, you're my people, and I guess I just wanted to tell you how beautiful I think you all are. I'm gonna remember you the rest of my life, because I will never stop loving you. Thank you.
Yeah. Hearts up for Jane. Everybody put your hearts up for Jane, come on.
In fact, she was invited back as a freshman to perform again and to be a judge for the 2016 event. Her inspiration for the poem was easy.
Whittier was probably one of the greatest things that ever happened to me. I love that school. I know we're talking about in the district with, either redoing it or having some remodeling, and I was like, I don't want anything to happen to that school.
And her love of the written and spoken word has even deeper roots.
Eugene Field, it was a great school for me to start out with because I was a very, very shy little kid, and it was a much smaller school than it is now then, but it was arts focused, so I definitely found a place where I could kind of move into the school life because I was not ready for that. Probably my first grade teacher, Mrs. Grand George, was one of my all-time favorite teachers. She was definitely somebody who recognized my shyness and helped me through that. And then my 5th grade teacher, Miss Gertner, is definitely the one for the arts-related kind of aspect of who I want to be. There's this poetry competition with the Barnes & Noble that kids can write poems about school, and I did that for her. And that was, and then we got to go do that together and read it in Barnes & Noble, and that's how I kind of got into loving the art of the written and spoken word, is with her.
From that shyness and trepidation came a natural growth into who she would become.
I loved Eugene Field. It was an amazing school, but I really needed to move on from that kind of smaller, more internally focused curriculum at Eugene Field to that vibrant, crazy, wild world that is middle school. And I found that world was exactly where I wanted to be. And there's just so many amazing people at that school. And that's kind of where I found a lot of friends I have today. And I still see them around. And Whittier kids are always just the most stand-up, kindest. You always know who's a Whittier kid by how they act now. I think, yeah, it's a great school.
As it turned out, her accolades in the Poetry Slam and the breaking down of barriers were the first of many. Throughout high school, Jane has fallen in love with leadership opportunities, academic excellence, and the arts. Here's a short list of her accomplishments. She was a finalist in the state Poetry Out Loud competition as a sophomore.
I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices, soft and sweet.
She's a National Merit semifinalist. Her 4.0 grade point average has her ranked at number 2 out of 377 seniors at Washington High School. She was named Washington's Junior Student of the Year last year. She's a member of the Principal's Advisory Council, a member of the Superintendent's Advisory Forum. She was invited to Girls State, where she additionally won a scholarship. She has participated all 4 years in orchestra, has been a part of cello ensembles, jazz band and jazz combos, and all-state orchestra. And she loves every minute of it.
I think for me it's just simply I love what I do. I love Washington High School so much. It's something I wake up, whether I'm waking up at 6 o'clock to be here or whether I'm staying till 9 o'clock at night. I love being here. So the rehearsal till 6 after school and then homework till 2 in the morning doesn't really, I mean, it could, it's hard, but I also have an understanding that I'm lucky to have an education at all. I mean, just how many years ago college wouldn't have been an option for me, or college is an option for many women around the world. And for me, it's just that knowledge that I'm getting an incredible gift by being here, that I just want to do anything to appreciate the resources that this school has given me.
Her homework until 2 in the morning is partially courtesy of 12 advanced placement classes she will have completed by the end of this year, 6 of them in 2018-19 alone.
I really do completely enjoy them, if I'm being honest. I took a lot of the classes, the AP classes I'm taking this year, because I knew the teachers, not because I knew there was amazing teachers I wanted to have again. I wanted to have Mr. Smith, my physics teacher, again, because obviously physics is not my forte. But I was like, hey, I'll take AP Physics 2 this year, and it'll be a good experience of having him again, because he's great about letting me come in and ask him a million questions all the time. But yeah, I think every student should take an AP course. I mean, I think they're great preparation. They're hard, but they're also really fun. You get to do more great things in them. In regards to the AP classes, I think sometimes people have an idea that taking them is setting you up for something. And right now I'm just trying to focus on learning for the sake of learning right now. I mean, I know there's some things I'm not going to use later. I mean, maybe I'm not going to use calculus for the rest of my life, and people always say, oh, you don't need this to balance your checkbook. And I hate that mentality so much. I want to be here. I want to take these classes not because I want to be ready, I guess, for college or be ready to outsmart someone in the world, but do them because I think it's something that every human should know how to do. Everybody should use the information.
I think the best way to describe Jane is that she's multidimensional and that she's not just on the surface level when she approaches things. She has that wow factor about her, and she's dynamic. So she can take on any part that she's put in, and with that, she takes it the full amount. She goes the whole way with it.
I can't put her into words. Anybody who's ever met Jane knows that she is an amazing spirit, and she has this fresh quality about her. She doesn't care if people look at her clothes and say, that's a little unusual. She doesn't care if people look at her huge cello case full of stickers and say, I wonder what that girl's doing with that huge cello case. Jane is so comfortable being Jane, and that is so difficult to do in high school and in our world of social media, where everybody is absolutely inundated with likes and dislikes and all kinds of things like that. So that's really amazing to me, to see a teenager who's so confident and comfortable in herself without being overbearing, without being judgmental of other people. Jane is just Jane, and she's a delightful human being. And I kept coming back to, well, what makes her a great student? What makes her special? Why is she a better Washington Warrior example than maybe other kids that could have also been chosen to have this video tribute? And I just thought, it's because of who she is as a person. It isn't just who she is as a student or a drama student or a member of the orchestra or something. There is a fire in her that I've rarely seen in 25 years.
Jane's truest love, perhaps, is theater.
Right away, even from freshman orientation, when she first came in, she just had a zest for the theater. She had tons of questions for me before she even got to Washington High School when she was still at Whittier. coming to Washington, and theater was extremely important to her. She reads a lot of literature. She reads a lot of plays. It's something she's very interested in. And so, you know, whether it be Shakespeare or a modern day classic, she just dives in full throttle with it. With the plays that she's been in here at Washington, I think probably last year when she played Puck in Midsummers, that probably was one of the best performances that she had. She took on that character, gave it her all, and she just brought it to life. And with Shakespeare, it's sometimes tough to do that, and for Jane it was extremely easy. I think it's her love for literature that pushes her, but I also believe that she just has that zest. She has that ambition and drive for things beyond what we just see every day. She's very inquisitive about things that are beyond the now. And so she's always looking for something more important or something more meaningful to her.
The most important thing about, I think, my experience at Washington is the Washington High School Theater Department. I came at Eugene Field, we had plays every year, and the big ones were the musicals at the end of the year. And I'm not a singer very much, so I never, you know, it was never really my thing. I never really got a large role. Same as middle school, never really got. And then I tried out for the first show freshman year. Mr. Ackerman took a chance, cast me in the lead role, and I decided I would do every show here. There'll be 16 total available for me at the end of my 4 years. So far I've done the 12. That's been obviously not cast in every single one because we have so many very talented members, but acted in 9, assistant directed 2, and set design for 1. But it's not so much that part of it. You get just the simple getting on stage, getting a part that I love so much. It's about trying to organize a program. I mean, trying to run something, working together with people. And I think I found that really caring about something and having something that you want to be, somewhere you want to be every day after school is incredibly telling on what you want to do for the rest of your life. I mean, I'm there every day after school during the show season, and I found there's never been a single day at Washington that I have not wanted to go to rehearsal and go to the theater department. And it definitely wasn't even something on my radar for future prospects before Washington. And I found, you know what, if it's something that you think about when you go to bed, you think about when you wake up, you're studying all day and you want to be there every day, it might be something that you want to consider as a career. So that's really helped me out of this experience at Washington.
When I think about the diverse characters that she's played throughout the years, whether it be in a Shakespearean play or a modern classical or even a children's show, she just does an awesome job with bringing that character to life. She goes full throttle with it. Her leadership is amazing, and all 4 years here at Washington, she steps up to the plate. She's been a drama officer now for 3 years, and she steps up to the plate. She's a major driving force behind what we do in the theater department, and her leadership role allows her to gather people, and she pushes them to achieve excellence as well. And so it's not just about Jane. Jane is very much a team player, and she pushes others to achieve excellence. And so this year we have a musical coming up, and anything that Jane hears about, she's extremely excited for.
It may be little surprise, given everything you already know, that Jane also earned a score of 35 on the ACT this summer, which paired with her AP classes, GPA, and her demonstrable leadership, will hopefully land her an acceptance letter from her dream school, Yale. She's certainly worked hard for it.
I took it twice. The second time was when I got the score I have now. Basically, I took it this summer. I was like, I'm gonna just study out. So I spent a week, from Monday to Friday before. That's all I did. At least all I did, tried to do all day. So I woke up in the morning and then went to bed at night, just all day. Obviously, I'm not gonna be totally productive every aspect of the day, but you know, 5 hours on Monday, I think I took Wednesday off. Had a small breakdown, and then kept going with that 4 or 5 hours. Just focused study, because something I care about. So, but got through it. It was tough, and it paid off.
That's something she learned in middle school and carries with her today.
My 6th grade math teacher, his name is Mr. Barth, I think he works at Patrick now. I'm very much like, I want to know why things work and not how they work. But sometimes in math, that's not really feasible, just because sometimes you don't know why, it just kind of does what it does. And he was really the first person to let me know that you didn't have to being smart isn't something that has to come naturally to you. It doesn't need to be you get your work done faster than everybody else, you're the first one to turn in the test, you don't have to ask questions. He definitely taught me that being smart was being the person who comes in early and being the person who doesn't understand it and then gets it. And I think he definitely kind of made that something that I want to definitely focus in the rest of my life, of knowing that being smart isn't having things come easy to you, it's having things come hard to you and then doing something about it. Honestly, every class. I mean, I don't know if that's exactly right, but school doesn't totally come easy for me. It's not something that some stuff does, you know, the language arts stuff, I'm like, you know what, I get this is something that, but science and math, I don't get it right away. It's not something that just snaps. It's something that you have to go in early every day, or you need to spend 2 or 3 hours on a worksheet every night. And I think I think that's how you find out how you work and how you learn, is by having that stuff and being okay with the fact that you can still succeed and be smart without having things come easy to you.
Her drive, energy, and inquisitive nature are contagious.
Jane's curiosity makes others curious. And the energy that she possesses, that zest I keep talking about, she envelops and develops others with that same mindset of, hey, this is going to be a great experience, let's make it happen. And so she goes after everything with that same amount of energy.
So are her work ethic and devotion.
In the classroom, this is a cliche, but teachers always say, if I could have a room full of that student, that's who I would have. If I could have a room full of Janes, my day would be so amazing. I love my students, but Jane always comes to class prepared. She does all of the academic things. She does her homework, she turns it in, she studies for tests. But the other thing is she takes personal responsibility. If she's going to be gone, she lets the teacher know. If she's been gone, she gets the work made up. When she was in my AP class, some of our AP multiple choice practice tests and AP level selections are very difficult. And by the second half of the year, the students are really digging in how to read them and really find the best answer, not just one of the right answers. And Jane is the one that everybody would look at, well, Jane, how many did you get right? What was your score? Why did you answer that? And she always was so gracious and, well, I don't know, I thought I got this one, or I thought I got this answer. But the thing about Jane is she was that barometer that the students subconsciously were working up to. Oftentimes in class, I'll take a student's name off of a paper and then I'll project it on the document camera, and we'll go through and we'll look at some of the really good construction that they might have in a sentence or a paragraph. And I, of course, would use some of Jane's compositions, and the students wouldn't even know whose it was. And they'd read it and they'd look at their own and they would make comments like, oh, that's what it's supposed to be, or, oh, I didn't write that. And after a while, they'd say, well, whose paper is that? And, well, I want to keep that quiet. And then they would start saying, well, that was Jane's, wasn't it? And she would smile and grin. She was never boasting about it. But I used her writing as examples. And for the general public to understand how good of a writer you have to be the constant example, that's a pretty impressive thing. Of course, I had other strong writers, but she was using constructions and using things that I had not even taught the students. So I could use that as an example, and I could say, well, some of you are maybe ready to try this. And she would then become the springboard for more writing.
Last year, I had the privilege to work with Jane on 2 productions. One was a puppet theater show that we did here at Washington, and she was an assistant director for that show. And she was the driving force behind getting people motivated to do things, coming up with stories, creating storyboards. She was an integral part of organizing all of those things and getting people motivated to do that. And then for our last show of the year, we did Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, the murder mystery. And again, she was just an intricate part of making that production come together. As an assistant director, she not only knows how to give critiques, but she constantly was asking for me to ask or to give her feedback on how she was doing as an assistant director and what she was sharing with the students. And she's got a natural gift when it comes to that. But her true gift is organizing people, getting them energized to do things, and then pushing forward and making sure that excellence is achieved.
Beyond all the accomplishments and successes, there's something about her that draws students and teachers alike.
You know, to walk into the building with Jane in the morning, it's just the most amazing thing. You come in the door with her and she's pulling her cello behind her, and she meets each day with zest and invigorating energy, and she does everything that way.
The other thing is she's so well liked by her peers. She can get along with anyone. She talks to a varsity athlete the same way that she talks to maybe a quiet student who isn't in any activities and maybe has a hard time making friends. That's part of Jane's appeal. She has a way of making everybody feel comfortable. As a teacher, academically, she's one of those students that I think, I'm not sure I taught her anything. I had her in AP Language and Composition, and the first composition that she wrote, I read it and I thought, I don't think I taught any of that. And I know that teachers in the past have, but I also know that she just has an affinity for writing. She loves language, she loves reading. I know that her mom certainly has been an influence on that as well. So what I would do is I would take Jane's compositions, which were already A's, and I would try to push her a little bit, maybe change her phrasing to be even more sophisticated, or to sometimes back it down a little bit. She's so smart that sometimes she'll use words that the average reader might not understand, and so I would make note of that. But as a student, I couldn't ask for anything more. She's the kind of student that we teachers keep in our back pocket, so to speak. So on those days when we're very stressed out, we're tired, we look at those kids in the room and we think, that's why I'm here. I want to do my best today because of a Jane, because I know that they're coming eager to learn. And even if it's rough for me, I'm going to push through and do my very best because someone is depending on me. Some kids are passive about their education. They come in, they sit down, they take the notes, they take the tests, they write the papers, they do whatever they're supposed to do. But Jane actively learns. She wants to get better. And those are the kind of students that teachers, I really think, get up for in the morning. Of course, we have our soft spots for maybe the underdog students or something like that, but academically, especially in an AP class, those students like Jane are the ones that push us.
It's hard not to like someone who brings out the best of everyone.
I think as a warrior, probably generosity, when we look at the circle and pull things out from that, I think that generosity probably is the aspect that helps her to pull others in because she's so generous of herself. She gives of herself. And so kids look at that, they look up to her. Kids want to be around Jane because she pulls them in, she makes them feel welcome. And in doing that, they're giving to her as well. But when I think of Jane in terms of being a warrior, it's her generosity that she shows to others. And again, all the things that she's involved with because she gives of herself and then has expectations to make it work.
Jane Walsh is the perfect Washington warrior because she has a subtlety about her that she'll never be loud, she'll never boast about her accomplishments, but everybody knows them. When they announced the homecoming candidates last week, I happened to have a senior ad room, so I was in the room when they announced it. And when they said her name, it was, I think, the loudest applause. Everybody was screaming and clapping for Jane, and I just beamed because she is being recognized for who she is and everything that she's worked for. And yet she did it without drawing any attention to herself. Even if I would congratulate her in class for something, if she won an acting award or if I knew she'd done well in a concert, I might say it at the beginning of class. I might say, "Good job, Jane," or I heard you got that award. And it was always just, "Thanks." And she just didn't want to be recognized. She didn't seek attention. And I think that her kindness and her honesty and her welcoming personality somehow in the last 3 years at Washington at least has just permeated so many different groups of people. I think the strongest music students admire her. I think the biggest athletes admire her. I think the average student who doesn't even know her personally, they recognize her and they see her and they just know there's something special about her. We try all the time to encourage our students to live up to what it is to be a Washington warrior. I honestly think that's just Jane. She just has those characteristics of personal courage and integrity and kindness and being open to new ideas. In 25 years, she is in that select handful of students that I think probably impacted me more than I ever impacted her, whether it was educationally or just on a personal level. She made me want to pull out some books and read them that I hadn't read for a long time. She made me want to get back into writing a little bit. I haven't actually done that, but I thought, wow, you know, if she can find time to write, why can't I find time to write? She's an inspiration. I was thrilled to be her teacher. I'm sad to see her in the hallways this year and I don't get to interact with her on a daily basis, but she is just a joy to have at Washington.
She wasn't just nominated as a candidate for homecoming. Earlier this week, this happened.
Washington High School's 2018 homecoming queen is... Jane Walsh.
The love is real. And what does Jane love most about Washington?
I will never stop to reiterate the power of human kindness. I mean, people have an idea that some people are athletic, some people are geniuses, some people, and I found that there's a genius inside of everybody. And I've never met a single person here or at any of the schools I've been to that hasn't been capable of incredible friendship, incredible intelligence, and incredible of just being human. And I love being in an environment where you get to interact with so many outstanding people as that go to this school.
Jane has always been focused on what's really important. When you ask what she's looking forward to most as a senior?
I guess what I look forward to every year, just enjoying every day of my life. I mean, I have goals. You know, I'd like to get into a good number of schools. I'd like to get some scholarships because I don't want to have that a lot of debt. It would be really nice. I'd like to stay 4.0. I'd like to learn what I need to learn. But more importantly, I just like to never lose that loving to wake up in the morning. And just the love of just being alive is what I'm really looking forward to again this year. It sounds really cheesy, but I guess that's what I love about going to school and going to Washington is just trying to appreciate the little things that happen each day. And it's not about the big things, it's not about any sort of award you can get, because in the end those things don't matter. And they're very kind and they're wonderful and people are so generous, but in the end what I want to look forward to every day is saying hello to somebody in the halls, meeting somebody new, hearing somebody's poem they wrote in lit class. Those are the things that are important to me and what I really want to get out of this year, as I hopefully have done the other years I've been at Washington.
As her final year at Washington begins, an era draws to a close. Washington is excited to see where she goes next.
Jane is going to go places. She loves the theater, and I know that she's planning on studying theater as she goes on to pursue her further education. And she loves Broadway. She's enthusiastic about it. There is nothing that Jane won't be able to do. And again, it goes back to that zest and that enthusiasm for life and knowledge, and just her inquisitive state of being all the time.
I think it's whatever she wants it to be, and that is so cliche. She might decide to go very academic. She could handle Ivy League easily, but she might decide to be more artistic, and she might travel the world and do something that's a little bit personally fulfilling versus quote-unquote academic or financial. I just know that whatever she does in life, she will impact other people in a positive way. I'm excited to see her future. I know I'll keep in touch with her. I know that even when she's 30 years old, I'll still call her one of my kids because my respect and admiration for her, I have a hard time putting it into words, and that's probably a good thing.
There will be many more opportunities to see Jane's work and accomplishments this year. Keep an eye on Washington's calendar for each of 4 theater productions coming up, and subscribe to the student newspaper Now or News of Washington so you don't miss a thing.